Hello, my fellow Gen Xers as well as baby boomers. I think we can agree that we are all freaking the fuck out right now. I'm sure a lot of you, if you're like me, I'm having some 80s flashbacks in the worst kind of way. With all this Ukraine Russia stuff going on, I feel like ducking in a hallway and lacing my fingers and covering my head, the old duck and cover. Millennials, you younger people may not know what we're talking about, but I'll see if I can find you a video so you can enjoy the horror that we had to experience growing up in elementary school. When Putin said, I mean, not that long ago, he said, "Oh, I'm not going to invade." All these, but they're like, "Oh, these tanks are here." They're like, "Oh, no, that's NATO, that's not us." And then boom. So I think we've caught NATO like a bad boyfriend in a lot of lies. And he's to the point where he just doesn't even care anymore. We have all dated that guy. And you people that don't see that this is a problem, clearly Russia hitting the Ukraine was pretty much a dick move. If you guys don't see that, you have clearly never seen Red Dawn, and I'm talking the 1984 version. I've not seen the newer one, but Chris Hemsley, how bad could it be? Putin to the Ukraine is like Kanye to Kim Kardashian. Follow me with this. You've got the boyfriend, they were together and they were cool. And then finally, Ukraine slash Kim decides, you know what, I want to go my own way. And they seem cool for a little bit, right? But then Kim, aka Ukraine, starts, hey, NATO looks pretty good. NATO slash Pete Davidson. I want to get some of that. Now, Russia, aka Kanye, is like, oh, hell no, you're coming back to me, da-da-da, and starts sending, I'm sure, like, Putin started sending the Ukraine flowers and started parking outside of his door, and everyone's like, oh, don't worry, he's not doing anything. He's not doing anything wrong. Boom, I've watched enough ID channel to know how this is going to end. And clearly I was right. He starts bombing, not just one part of the country, every part of the country. This is a very fucked up, codependent relationship. This is an abusive boyfriend that the Ukraine is trying desperately to leave and get like NATO slash Pete Davidson's help to get the fuck out of there. Pretty cut and simple to me. Putin seized Chernobyl, and that could turn into a complete shit show for all of Europe. If you don't realize, decades ago, Chernobyl was like the largest nuclear disaster in human history. And it could happen again. Now, keep in mind, Russia, like with the US, are probably two of the biggest holders of nuclear energy and weapons. So this could be bad. This could be really bad. And people are blaming Biden. Dude, how are you going to blame a president here for another country invading another country? I'll wait. Well, but Afghanistan, you know what? Presidents have been saying they're going to pull out of there for years. And just like every other man I've ever known, pulling out is not always their best suit. And who was it that said they wanted to pull out and was going to do it slowly? Trump. Who else withheld funds from the Ukraine so he could blackmail them into doing some reconnaissance on his presidential candidate foes, aka Joe Biden? That was Trump too. All right, just in case you guys forgot. Trump basically gave Putin a free pass. And all those guys that would wear back in the day the shirts of like, I'd rather be a Russian than be a Democrat, you might be getting your wish. I hate to say that, but it's so true. Clearly, a lot of people, it's obvious, learned civics from their high school football coach, and it's totally showing right now. Most of you do not know dick about geography or any kind of politics. I know this because you guys are using the words socialism and communism totally wrong. You want to know communism? take a look at Russia and what they're fucking trying to do. It's pretty obvious to me. Again, I don't know a lot about them. I won't claim to know a lot about politics or foreign policy. But it seems like Putin has always had it in the back of his head, hey man, I really want to get the USSR back together. And the other countries are like, no, we're cool being on our own. But he is desperately trying to get it back together. Now, Ukraine kind of backs right up to a lot of Europe. We're talking Poland. It's close to Germany. So that could be a shit show for most of Europe. And what else does the Ukraine have? A lot of mineral ore mining, and namely uranium. So I'm sure like that has to factor in a little bit to Putin, because he seems like money is important to him. Not money toward his people, but money to him. Either way. Some of you guys have forgotten those atomic bomb films that we watched when we were in school. We would have to get in the hall or get under our desk with our heads down, duck and cover, like that was going to really help anything.
Duck and cover. Be sure and remember what Bert the Turtle just did, friends, because every one of us must remember to do the same thing. That's what this film is all about. Duck and cover. Paul and Patty know this. No matter where they go or what they do, they always try to remember what to do if the atom bomb explodes right then. It's a bomb. Duck and cover. Sundays, holidays, vacation time, we must be ready every day, all the time, to do the right thing if the atomic bomb explodes. Duck and cover. That's the first thing to do. Duck and cover. First, you duck. And then, you cover. You duck and cover tight. Duck and cover under the table. It's a bomb. Duck and cover.
He did what we all must learn to do. You and you and you and you. Duck and cover.
And a lot of you have forgotten the Reagan era and the Cold War. I have not forgotten. Next to Putin, I kind of miss Gorbachev, and I never thought I would say that. Putin is the devil, in case you didn't know who was the bad guy in this scenario. And Trump's trying to say this would not have happened if he were president. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? You would have led the way, and now you're calling him a genius and savvy. I doubt you can even spell the word savvy. But Trump did everything for Putin except suck his dick. And I'm not confident that you did not do that, all right? Calling Putin a genius and savvy is just absolutely absurd and ridiculous. Trump and his minglings are praising a dictator. Not just any dictator, like a seriously fucked up sociopath dictator who doesn't care about his people, sure shit doesn't care about other people. He cares about power. He is like not the good guy. You know, I'm not sure what y'all are not seeing. He is not the good guy. If this was a Western movie, he'd be wearing a black hat, all right? He's the villain. He is Emperor Palpatine. Putin makes Cersei Lannister look like Mother of the Year, all right? Doris Umbridge from Harry Potter, he makes her look like Martha Stewart, right? This guy, you'd have better luck having dinner with Hannibal Lecter than dealing with Putin on any issue, peace, whatever. Scar from Lion King is a house cat compared to Putin. I think you hopefully see where I'm going with this. He's a megalomaniac. He's fucking insane. He's a bad dude. All right? And since we're talking about Trump, if you remember, like I said, the first impeachment was because he was withholding money from the Ukraine. How did that work out? And he wanted to get us out of NATO. That's a fucking horrible idea. And if you don't think that's a horrible idea, you clearly haven't been paying attention and you don't know what NATO is. So again, I will not claim to be a political science major or even a sociologist or geographist, but I know that NATO good, Putin bad, all right? And these Republicans these are not the same Republicans that I grew up with in the Reagan era. Because let me tell you, if Ronald Reagan was alive today, he would be kicking the shit out of you people that are supporting and praising Putin. That is some fucked up shit right there. He would not think that was cool at all. And I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I fucking think they're all idiots. Republicans, y'all need to pull your heads out of your asses and see things a little bit clearer. Democrats, y'all need to grow some balls because you're in desperate need of them. We need to come together as Americans. Do we have to have another 9/11 for you to see that? Because I tell you, I got a pit in my stomach watching the news, the same kind of pit in my stomach that I had during 9/11, and it's not a fucking good feeling. This whole thing could royally fuck the entire world if it gets out of hand, if it is not dealt with. I thought I was worried about the pandemic fucking up society, but now this is 10 times worse. And it really is. There's no two way around it. And I thought, how can it get worse? All right, in the last decade, we've been dealing with erratic weather. It's been snowing in Vegas and California and other places that never get snow. And people who are calling the pandemic a hoax, that there's not one. There's fires in Australia and California, tornadoes by the dozen, politicians who support corporate greed over the American people, developers scooping up property and driving housing prices through the roof, gentrification running natives out of their own neighborhoods, billion-dollar corporations paying little to nothing in taxes, while average Joe has to have 2 jobs just to afford rent. Now, and buying a house, you know, I know millennials are thinking that's a millennial problem. Let me tell you right now, I'm a Gen Xer, and if you didn't buy your house years ago, you're kind of fucked right now on buying a house because it's ridiculous. Not long ago, people were hoarding gasoline in plastic tubs, and they were buying up all the toilet paper. We have people that are citing the Constitution that have never read it or really don't understand it. People are politicizing vaccines and masks. This is a greater problem than some fucking masks. You know, we're having to worry about measles and other diseases now that we didn't have to worry about before. People are complaining again about socialism and communism. Well, it's going to get real here in a minute. You're going to really see what communism is when you see a leader that doesn't give dick shit about his people. Now, we've seen that here a lot, but you're definitely seeing it a lot in Russia. UK and some other countries are trying to step in and put sanctions and squash Russia. And I know some people are like, that's not enough. But I tell you, you hit somebody in their pocketbook, it's going to affect them on the long term. So hopefully war will not result. I know America is supposed to send troops to Germany and Poland, you know, not going into the Ukraine, but definitely protecting Europe. All for that. Russia hasn't attacked just one part of the Ukraine. He's got strikes everywhere. And if you took civics from your high school football coach, you may not know that much about geography either. The distance from Germany to the Ukraine is about the distance of Nashville, Tennessee to Amarillo, Texas. And that ain't real far if you're talking about bombs going off and things of that nature. It's one of the worries that Russia just won't quit with the Ukraine. He's going to want to reunite the Soviet Union again, or even more. Worst case scenario, nuclear weapons, or as some of you call nuclear weapons, are put into play. Dude, we're all fucked. We are all fucked. Like I said, Russia, shit ton of them. We have a shit ton of them. But even like little Pakistan and India, they got a few. And if those two countries ever went to blows and they bombed each other with just the few little that they've got, the few hundreds they've got, that's going to devastate the entire planet. Because if you don't know how it works, boom, it's going to decimate those countries right there. Then the cloud is going to cover within 2 weeks the entire planet. What that does is it blocks out the sun. When you don't have sun, what happens? Temperatures drop significantly. Plants can't grow. It won't rain. So you're seeing, worst case scenario, all the human population starving within 2 months. And if you don't believe me, there is a TED Talk out there with a scientist that has been studying nuclear devices for 35 years. So he kind of knows what he's talking about. It's like we have 1984 repeating itself all over again with a Cold War. And if you are not scared, you are not paying attention. What I've just described sounds like a terrible plot from a sci-fi movie, it's not. It's reality. And it is pretty fucked up. Folks, we are living in the movie Don't Look Up. All right? It's not an asteroid that we got to worry about right now. We got to worry about Kanye coming after Kim as she's trying to get sanctuary from Pete Davidson. Russia, Ukraine, NATO. There's your civics lesson for today. Have a good one.